Breaking news tonight, some educators in the state are claiming a win as part of Governor Reynolds' education law is now on hold. But another embattled section of the act still stands. So here's what you need to know. A federal judge filed an injunction on the law in response to a request from the plaintiffs of two separate lawsuits against Reynolds and the state. Part of the law requiring educators to report a student changing their name or pronouns to their guardians is still in effect right now. But restrictions on books and classroom instructions on gender identity and sexual orientation could not be enforced. Local 5's Megan McPherson joins us to break down what the temporary injunction means and what comes next. Megan.
Larissa, as you mentioned, this injunction is the result of two separate lawsuits, both against the state of Iowa. And in speaking to the plaintiffs from one of those lawsuits today, those who are against the law believe it is unconstitutional and infringes on the First Amendment rights of students. 1 week after the state of Iowa faced off in the courtroom against plaintiffs for two separate lawsuits, a judge is blocking part of Governor Reynolds' sweeping education bill. As of today, the Iowa Department of Education cannot enforce the removal of books that they deem age inappropriate or that depict themes related to gender identity or sexual orientation. This means that those books will be able to stay on school library shelves and that teachers will not be penalized if they choose to do so. However, a motion to prohibit teachers from notifying parents about any changes to a student's name or pronouns was denied by the judge. Iowa educators Allison Browder, Mary Butler, and Daniel Gutmann are key plaintiffs in one of the lawsuits considered by the judge. They believe the education law takes away constitutional rights from students.
If we continue to ban books like The Color Purple and other Pulitzer Prize-winning novels, that is not a state that I would like our youth to grow up in.
Some educators like Browder, who teaches 7th grade English in Norwalk, have refused to remove certain books from their shelves.
I just had moral issues with it where I'm like, as a teacher, I refuse to take these books off my shelves. Like, I can't do that morally.
Gutmann also hopes that the injunction will send a message to the state as they head into a new legislative session.
But when it comes to our state house, Governor Reynolds and Republican legislature, we have a constitution. You cannot target the LGBTQ community, and I hope that message is loud and clear.
Since this decision dropped, Connor, you have been digging into the injunction details itself. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so I think the first thing, let's reiterate, part of this law is still in effect right now, Megan, while other portions of the law are on pause. So it's a partial block. The injunction itself, it's 46 pages. You saw how long it is. There's a lot laying out why the judge ruled what he did. But here are some of the main points that I've found so far in the last hour and a half. So what does this injunction entail? District Judge Stephen H. Loker, who's presiding over this case, said the state law impaired plaintiffs' First Amendment rights based on the content of their speech. Judge Loker also agreed with the plaintiffs some of the language surrounding book regulations was too broad and didn't consider specific classroom scenarios where these texts are needed. So for example, classroom materials containing sex acts could have historical value for a student's education, the judge said. So where do we go from here? Here's what a Drake Law professor told me just an hour ago.
In law, wherever you are, the loser can appeal, and in certain kinds of cases like this is likely to appeal.
So I'll continue to break down the ruling further later into the night, and I'll explain how this case could continue to play out. Larissa.
Connor, thank you. Now, there's a lot to unpack on this complicated topic. For more stories on how we got to this injunction today and to find the documents laying out this ruling, head to our website at weareiowa.com.